Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are all doing well. In today's video, we are here with Sandra Santos, the director of Colegio Rainha de Leonor. I will one day say that name correctly. But we will be interviewing her today because the school has decided to expand their curriculum and now introduce the Cambridge curriculum. Hello.
Hello, Josie, once again.
Nice seeing you again. I have compiled a bunch of questions for her, so we'll kind of get into it. And if you are familiar with the Cambridge curriculum, please know that it's an introduction to the system itself, especially for myself, who's American and very unfamiliar with the whole curriculum. We're going to go into detail as far as how it works, what it's about, and all the good stuff, and how this will benefit your child. Let's just get started with the basic.
Sure.
And can you explain what the Cambridge curriculum is?
Yes, well, the Cambridge curriculum is delivered in more than 160 countries. It's recognized worldwide, and all the program is the same in every country with the same mock tests, exams, methodology. So it's an international pathway. It's delivered in English.
Okay.
And it's a great opportunity, especially for who has decided to study abroad.
And then will it start in the younger years? When will it start? At what year?
Okay, so we decided to begin with upper secondary. That's equivalent to grade 9 students in Portugal.
Okay. Sorry, if you're not familiar with the Portuguese system, it's very similar to the American system where it starts technically in kindergarten, but first grade all the way up to 12th grade. So grade 1 in the US will be grade year 1 here in Portugal. Just to give you an idea.
That's right. Very good. You learned a lot this year.
It's been 5 years now. I have to learn.
We do have authorization to go down, but we also believe that quality is better than speed. So we think that it was better to begin in upper secondary to prepare our students for university. And when I mention universities, I should also highlight that the leading universities in Portugal are already delivering classes in English and all material in English and presentations in English.
Oh, wow.
So that's also important to mention.
So, but why now? Why did Colegio decide to introduce the Cambridge curriculum when they're already pretty successful with the Portuguese curriculum here?
Yes, and we do want to continue successful with the Portuguese curriculum. It's just a different choice. It's a different pathway. We do believe that students are different. Families have different aims for their children. And we have been open for 20 years now, and we have always had students studying abroad in university, going to universities in UK, Canada, States, everywhere. And also students that choose those universities that deliver in English. So this didn't begin this year. Actually, our first conversation with Cambridge was in 2017.
Oh, wow.
The first time Cambridge visited Colegio. But there was a path that we had to be consistent because the first thing is that we want our Portuguese students to be able to attend this program. And to be able to attend this program, their English has to be very good.
Okay.
So we decided to invest in more hours in English. We already had English from nursery, right? But more hours of English beginning in primary years, and use Cambridge books in English classes. And after that path, then we believe that students are able to have a program completely in English.
So you're just pretty much setting them up for success.
Yes. We want students to be able at the end of grade 8 to choose whatever they want. So, and that English is not a barrier. So that's why we thought that we had to prepare it before. And of course, as you can imagine, this is a process. Our authorization process began in January last year.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've had so many years to think about this and prepare for it. So how many hours a week do the children receive in English in primary, otherwise known as elementary school, and middle school?
Okay, so in primary, 3 hours a week.
Okay.
But we also have some classes that deliver some content in English, like Estudo do Meio, Science Lab.
Okay.
And in middle years, 4 hours of English. But we also have that subject, citizenship, cidadania e desenvolvimento,
right.
that they also have to present projects in English.
Oh, interesting.
You can find some projects in social media that they have presented.
I mean, actually, my son, who is now in 6th year, actually had to do his whole presentation in English. I mean, it was a little bit easy for him, but it was very interesting to see.
Yeah, we also have, for example, in grade 1, primary years, they're doing their show and tell in English.
Oh.
Yes, with their favorite toy. My son is preparing it right now, actually. It's learning English, you know,
So
it's very, very important for their future.
So, as you said, there's 160 different schools that offer this.
Countries.
Oh, sorry, 160 different countries.
Yeah,
Okay.
so lots of schools.
Oh, wow. Sorry, my mistake. I'm still new to this whole thing. But as far as the Cambridge curriculum that's being taught in Portugal, all the different schools that offer it, what will make your school different than the others?
Well, the choice of subjects is always different, right? Because there are lots of subjects, Cambridge subjects, and each school can choose some of the subjects. So that's something that parents should always look at when they're choosing, when they decide to choose the Cambridge curriculum. They should look at each school's offer, okay? Of the subjects.
So then, what will Colegio be offering? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, global perspectives, Portuguese as first language and Portuguese as second language. That is a subject that it's going to be a CRDL subject because we're combining it with Portuguese traditions.
Okay.
So that won't be a Cambridge exam, but it will be a subject that we will have a report card with that subject and what they have achieved in that subject. We will have environmental management, drama, business, Spanish, history, physical education. Physical education is also very important because especially in A levels, that's equivalent to grades 11 and 12, advanced. We have physical education as a CRDL subject, mandatory, and there are schools that don't offer physical education, but we believe it's very important. We also have some skills that we want to work with them. We want students to be involved in voluntary projects also, and the Leonor values that we have this year that highlight students' skills and their profile as leaders, as responsible students that help each other, and we are going to have a certificate for that because we know that universities abroad, they actually look at that type of certificate. So it's not only about exams in CRDL, it's also about the whole student.
Yes, making a well-rounded student. I think, especially in the States, we definitely always look at that.
And for admission in some universities, it can be the difference.
Right, a deciding factor.
Yeah, deciding factor, that's right.
Now, let's kind of go back into the different levels for the Cambridge curriculum. So, for instance, grade 9 and 10, from what I gather, is considered IGCSE. Oh my goodness, it's such a tongue twister. IGCSE. And then you have A levels at year 11 and 12. And from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, IGCSE is the only difference between that and the UK GCSE is that's an international curriculum versus not. And the international version is made for those that they're not native English speakers. It kind of adapts to everybody. So the curriculum's a little bit different, but it follows pretty much
the same
thing.
standards, everything.
Right.
Yes.
So I guess, can you explain really the difference between that and the A-levels?
Okay, so the first difference is the number of subjects. Okay, so IGCSE, we are talking about 7 subjects more or less in 2 years.
Okay.
A-levels students will choose 3 to 4 subjects.
So from my understanding of A-levels from the US perspective, A-levels to me seems more like the advanced placement levels. In high school, you have that option of taking AP level classes that would then give you college credit. The studies itself is pretty rigorous.
Yes.
And that's why it's consolidated down to only 3 and 4 classes for those 2 grades.
For example, maths is equivalent to the first year of university in A-levels.
Okay, so yes, very similar to AP level classes.
Yes, and these A-levels are the exams that are required for university. Okay, so when students choose their A-levels, they should know what they want to do after A-levels, because there are certain universities abroad that ask for specific A-levels. For example, maths, business, history. And also, if they want to study in Portugal, they can also study in Portugal, and they will have to take the A-level that is equivalent for the entrance exam in the Portuguese university. For example, maths. If the entrance exam in a Portuguese university is maths, then the student will have to take A-levels maths.
So that was one of my other questions. So if someone is going down the Cambridge curriculum and they wanted to go to a Portuguese university, they wouldn't necessarily have to take the Portuguese national exam.
That's right.
They would take their own, whatever is required to get into the university that they're choosing within Portugal.
Yes, it's a process.
Okay.
It's with the Ministry of the Education. So there will be a conversion of grades and also an equivalence process. So it's possible, and there are lots of students in Portugal that are taking the Cambridge program, the A-levels, and they are going to universities in Portugal. And as I mentioned before, considering that many universities are teaching in English, that will be easier for them.
It's a great advantage. Yeah, it was all new to me. I just kind of assumed that some offered it, but I didn't realize that there's a huge shift of universities here that are now offering
more and more universities, yes.
So if you have a parent coming in and they are torn between the Portuguese curriculum and the Cambridge curriculum, how would you help them decide between which pathway to go down?
Okay. So if the student arrives in Portugal around 14, 15,
which would be considered
grade 9, and with no Portuguese, okay? Not speaking and writing Portuguese. Of course, I have to recommend the Cambridge curriculum because these students will, if they are in the national system, they will be doing national exams in Portuguese in, for example, grade 11, chemistry, maths, history, and it's really, really difficult. It's possible, of course, we have that situation, but students struggle because they can't translate the exams and they have to do everything exactly the same as the national student, and it's not easy, and the exam is very important for their admission in university. If the student is younger, I think they will fit in the national program very, 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 very well, and then when they arrive in the end of grade 8, they can decide what they want. Regarding profile, expectations, the future, if they want to study abroad or not, if they want to go to university in Portugal that has more English, for example, or even the subject choice, because I think that the fact that students can choose their subject is completely different from the national program, and that's something that students enjoy, studying things that they can relate to.
And I guess the difference really is, from my understanding, here in Portugal, at year 9, if you went down the Portuguese curriculum route, usually you then have to choose an area of focus.
Yes.
So for instance, mathematics or
Science and technology, ciências e tecnologias, humanities, arts, economics. These
Okay.
are the 4 groups.
Okay, so you have 4 choices or 4 pathways you can go down in the Portuguese curriculum. And within those pathways, there will be a set classes you have to take.
Yes.
And the freedom of taking the Cambridge curriculum is that you are able to choose your subjects and you have a little bit more flexibility and freedom to choose as you would like. So I guess that's probably the 2 differences that you would have to kind of decide at that fork in the road per se.